With the expedition ships MS Hanseatic and MS Bremen, embark on a voyage of discovery to the greatest river on Earth, the Amazon. Even in regions that the most maneuverable and flexible expedition ships cannot navigate, our Zodiacs can penetrate the dense jungle, deep into untouched nature to the wonders of this unique environment. Experience the fascination of nature close up and unforgettable encounters with amazing wildlife. This tropical jungle is home to unique nature and wildlife. Tribal cultures remain unaffected by the influences of the modern world. The expedition travels upriver for over 4,000 kilometers to the very heart of South America. Exciting tours and Zodiac adventures make this voyage an unforgettable experience. Our voyage begins in Belém on the Brazilian coast, and the adventure starts straight away. I always call it the nerve system, the Breves Narrows. Navigating on upriver through the whole of Brazil, making a stop at Parintins with its famous folklore groups. Of course, a stop in Manaus in the middle of the voyage is also a must. We continue on, leaving Brazil, and travel through Colombia and on into Peru, and our destination Iquitos. In the delta of the Amazon, the expedition ship steers a course towards the Breves Narrows. These canals build a natural water system connecting the north arm of the Amazon with the Rio Para. The passage through the Narrows takes the ship past dense forested land. Buriti and acai palm trees line the banks. To see an expedition ship in these remote areas is a fascinating and rare event for the local residents.
The highlights begin
straight away with the Breves Narrows, a chaos of narrow but navigable channels. The river is at its narrowest here. Nowhere on the rest of our voyage does it get this small again. The strong currents and the tight curves, often very close to land, call for the concentration and skills of the whole navigation team. To experience the expedition hands-on, the ship passes close to the forest banks as she travels through the jungle landscape. When the ship cannot continue, the Zodiacs come into their own. These robust, inflatable motorboats are ideal for the extreme environment in the jungle streams. They can get through to hidden places and untouched nature. The Zodiacs, our robust, inflatable boats, are affectionately referred to as the workhorses of the expedition. We offer trips and landings almost daily, sometimes twice a day. We're able to get really close and into the jungle. Many places where there are no piers or landing stages are only accessible with the Zodiacs. They offer the flexibility that makes the Amazon adventure into something really special. Thousands of plants that grow on the banks of the Amazon have culinary and medicinal uses. Nowhere in the world is there a larger variety of edible and medicinal plants. In the area of the Amazon basin, it is estimated that about 170,000 varieties are to be found. Passing the largest variety of water lily in the world, whose leaves grow to a diameter of around 2 meters, the Zodiacs penetrate further into the dense jungle. As we journey further into the jungle, we glide between the huge trees. The water level has risen over the past months and left the forest floor some 20 or 30 feet below us. Sloths and iguana are to be seen amongst the blooming plants. It's an unforgettable and unique experience. The tough Zodiacs take us to hidden places to discover rare animals and plants. The expedition leaders always go first for safety reasons. They check the unknown terrain with the first boat before the Zodiacs with our guests follow. The rainforest is a gigantic store of carbon dioxide, over 80 times more effective than all the forests of Germany put together. The most impressive forest on Earth is home to over 16,000 different types of trees. Only 1% of the sunlight manages to penetrate the forest canopy, and many species of plants grow on the branches and the trunks of the huge trees. Almost the entire forest floor is covered with a fine layer of fungus plants that feed on all the organic material and create compost and fertilizer for the jungle trees. The Amazon never ceases to surprise me, and that's what makes it so special. Every Zodiac trip and every visit on land brings new experiences. We arrange guided tours in the jungle, and the job of our expert guides is to focus the experience of the guests on the most interesting phenomenon and explain the connections and backgrounds. With our knowledge and experience, we can find specific plants and animals in the jungle that may have gone unnoticed by the guests. Along with our expert lecturers, local guides also accompany the tours. They know their way through every stream and thicket and will bring you through the wilderness safely and with lots of local knowledge. Following the tiny but very important residents of the jungle, the ants. Really, Brazilian coins shouldn't be adorned with images of eagles and wild carnivores, but the humble ant. They're the real masters of the jungle. Without the ants, the whole ecology of the jungle would collapse. The ants maintain the ecological balance. When you look closely, every flower, every tree, every leaf has its ants. For example, 43 different types of ant have been discovered in a single huge forest tree. That's the same number of ant species as in the whole of Great Britain. And we're talking about a single tree. With concentration and hard work, the leaf-cutting ants carry their harvest back to their nests, sometimes hundreds of meters away. Nowhere in the world are so many species concentrated in one area. The rainforest provides a home for about 1.4 million species. Amongst these, some 40,000 vertebrates, 250,000 plants, 750,000 insects, and 350,000 microbe species. It is estimated that about a quarter of all the species on Earth are endemic to the Amazon area. When visiting the jungle, the guests often comment on the large black nests that are so noticeable among the tree trunks. Unlike their counterparts in dry areas, such as the savannas of Africa, the termites in the Amazon rainforest build their nests high up in the trees. Their motto seems to be, better safe than sorry. They want to avoid being flooded as the water rises. These termites, like the ants, are also masters of the jungle. Colonies of termites may contain many million individuals. The queen of the colony resides in a chamber in the center of the nest and produces eggs for up to 20 years. Through the dense jungle of the tropical rainforest, the Zodiacs make their way back to the ship. Apart from the highlights on land, we also offer highlights here on board. The restaurant, for example, takes the tropical theme, and the kitchen gets into the feeling too, with local specialities. With only 155 passengers, the Bremen is a relatively small expedition ship. This is reflected in the intimate and friendly atmosphere on board. The Bremen offers plenty of space and freedom of movement over 6 decks, perfect for an expedition to the farthest corners of the world. The Hanseatic is the only 5-star expedition ship. After the excitement of the expedition, there is plenty of room on this spacious ship for the guests to relax and find their own personal space. The attentive crew and experienced captain are sure to provide an unforgettable experience on board. The challenge for me as captain is the permanent proximity to land. The autopilot can't be used at all. Of the 4,000 kilometers to Iquitos, every single nautical mile must be navigated manually. The proximity to land that we usually try to avoid in an open sea is exactly what we seek in the Amazon. Not for a few hours, as in other rivers like the Elbe or the Thames, but for days or even weeks.
Sondern für Tage und auch Wochen.
The officers and crew steer the expedition ship with precision and experience. Firstly, under my command, I have 4 officers of the watch who man the bridge 24 hours a day, split into 4-hour periods. As we're in what is called a riviera, the watch officer is supported by a local pilot. That support is more important in the Amazon than almost anywhere else on Earth, because the annual floods change the course of the river dramatically every year. The only people who have the experience and knowledge to cope with these changes are the local pilots. Bringing with us the impressions of the days spent in untouched nature, we reach the next highlight of the voyage, the capital city of the Amazon region, Manaus. The bustling metropole with more than 1 million inhabitants lies on the banks of the Rio Negro. Manaus is a fascinating city full of living history from the era of the Great Rubber Boom. Manaus, a city in the middle of a huge jungle, is a great place for bookable tours and excursions to view wildlife and plants. The Seaplane Excursion, which can be booked on board, offers a bird's-eye view of the city and the surrounding landscape. The Encontro das Aguas is a spectacular natural phenomenon. About an hour away from Manaus, the dark waters of the Rio Negro flow into the coffee-colored Rio Solimões in a spectacle of swirls and eddies. Leaving Manaus behind us, the expedition continues further into the diverse regions of the Amazon. A few simple wooden huts and the occasional village are the only signs of human inhabitants. The river and its fertile banks provide all that is needed for the local population. The riverbanks are mostly populated by caboclos, which means forest people. They're the siblings of Portuguese colonists and endemic tribes. They cultivate papaya, cocoa, and oranges in small holdings and live from the fish of the river. The abundant and varied fish reserves of the Amazon provide the population with a stable diet. More species of fish live in this river than in the Atlantic Ocean. Most of the caboclos live in simple huts with palm-thatched roofs along the bank of the river. It's not unusual to see the caboclos driving their herds of water buffalo from one flooded grazing ground to another. The animals are used to living and grazing in water during the flood season. Passing the herds, the expedition group continues into the flooded jungle. The Zodiac trips are one of the real highlights of an Amazon expedition. The Zodiacs make it possible for us to access the smallest tributaries and even the most inaccessible parts of the flooded jungle. It's simply unique to experience the untouched nature where there are no roads or pathways, no houses, no people, just pure nature. The experienced Zodiac drivers steer the maneuverable boats into the tropical jungle, passing close by to the wonders of the natural world. The expedition team take care to protect the environment. Plants, animals, and the local people are treated with respect. Every expedition is accompanied by renowned experts who share their profound knowledge of the flora and fauna with the guests. The experts know from experience where to look for the most exciting details and share their knowledge with enthusiasm. We'll see flowering plants on the riverbanks and learn their names. Medicinal and edible plants directly there where they're used for almost every purpose. We'll see many animals that are camouflaged in the jungle, but with expert help, clear to view and identify. The Zodiac tours are also great for bird watching. Thousands of rare birds inhabit the Amazon jungle. For example, the shy fishhawk. The herons are much easier to view, like the marble-breasted heron seen here. They can often be seen in the shallow waters close to the riverbanks. The roach-stern jacana and the purple moorhen can search for food amongst the floating grass thanks to their widespread large feet. The Amazon is home to a myriad of divers and colourful birds. Not only the jungle, but also the river provides a habitat for diving animals. River dolphins may appear at any time. They're playful and not at all shy around boats and humans. The jungle never sleeps. All aboard the Zodiacs for a night excursion through the darkness to search for the Amazon caiman. We comb the undergrowth with spotlights to find the reflection of the eyes of the caiman. We approach as close as we can before stopping the motor. The spotlight beam provides a clear view of this spectacled caiman. It's easy to see the unusual form of the head and eyes that gave the animal its name. And there, a caiman peers out of the water. Moving further upstream, the expedition ship continues through the virgin jungle, along the borders of Brazil, Colombia and Peru, towards Letizia. I always think of Letizia as a Wild West town. The houses built on the banks of the river, the streets ending nowhere, and even so a chaos of small motorbikes buzzing around. The town has achieved a certain prosperity. There's plentiful fishing, wild fruit and edible plants to bring to the market. The fruit and vegetable markets are overflowing and the fish market is fascinating. Letizia is a charming town with a real frontier character. Apart from a huge variety of fruit and vegetables, the market also offers insect larvae and grubs. They are rich in protein and the locals like to eat them raw or roasted. Letizia, the southernmost city in Colombia, is an important trade center in the triangle between Colombia, Brazil and Peru, with a population of around 37,000. The expedition ship traveling among the indigenous people. About 1 million indigenous natives live in the Amazon region. Many of the tribal groups have settled directly on the banks of the river. We pass some of the native settlements during our voyage. The largest settlement on our route is that of the Ticuna Indios. Other tribes we will see include the Huitotos, the Bora and the Jaguar Indios. These tribes maintain parts of their cultural heritage. However, because their settlements are so close to the river, they've been exposed to Western culture, and some have started wearing Western clothes and adopted parts of our Western way of life. A visit to a Huitoto Indio village in Peru. In the village hall, members of the tribe perform their traditional dances. From there, our voyage continues to Iquitos, our final destination. It's an amazing experience for the guests. The constant proximity of the ship to the jungle and the contact to the wildlife and the local people, combined with the wonders of nature, make the Amazon so unique.
Zusammen mit einer unglaublichen Natur, das macht diesen Amazonas so einzigartig.
After 2,200 nautical miles along this amazing river, the voyage draws to its end. Amazon Adventure, an expedition to the heart of the South American jungle.